Hey everyone, it's Michael V. Moore, aka McVinny, and I'm just want to start this video off by, my condolences to the family of George Michael. I'm a child of the 80s. I grew up with George Michael, Prince, Michael Jackson, all these great singers, and such a lot of tragedy keeps happening. I know with George Michael that totally came out the blue in the form of, with George Michael, he's been kind of keeping to himself lately. He doesn't really go in the public eye that much. And for those who are millenniums out there who don't know who George Michael is, I know for me, he holds a special place in my family just because I remember growing up in Cincinnati. So I was born in 1980. I lived in Cincinnati in the early 80s, and I was the youngest son of my mother and father who was married, and I had an older sister who was 8 years older than me. She grew up as a big Wham fan. For those who don't know who Wham is the group that George Michael first started his career out with. And if you grew up like me in the MTV generation, you appreciate good videos. And yes, they may look cheesy now, but those Wham videos, were pretty good. So I remember Wake Me Up Before You Go being one of the first Wham songs I actually saw a video for. But in addition to the videos, I know my sister had every single music cassette and every single record that they ever produced at that time period. So because my sister was a big fanatic, it kind of rubbed off on me. It's one of those things where you try to resist something, but over time you kind of grow to like it because you hear it so much. And that's kind of like my relationship with George Michael. I didn't appreciate it when I was first heard him, because, I was like, 3, 4, 5 years old. But over time, it's amazing how when I listen to his music, it brings back certain memories. And I can think exactly where I was when I heard that song. Like a great example is Father Figure. When I hear that song, I remember very vividly. I got a very good imagination, very good memory. But I just remember being a kid in second grade, and I remember every time I would hear that song, in one particular moment, it was playing on the radio, and this was the very first time earlier that day, I had a crush on a girl in the second grade, and I remember we were doing like an emergency drill where she was in another class and I was in a different class. But during this emergency fire drill in elementary school, it's a school crush. We got in lines, and you were supposed to take the hand of the person opposite you. And by some miracle grace of God or whatever you want to believe in, we end up holding hands just for like 1 second. And I remember a girl behind her said, "Oh, you're holding his hand. Ooh, you must like him." And me, I'm like, yeah, she's holding my hand. Because, I literally just met this girl. I saw her a couple of times, but it was like destiny that we were holding hands. And I can't remember her name. I know it started with a D. I want to say it was Deanna or Dinah, something like that. But I remember holding her hand just for that 1 second before she let go. And then she was like, "Oh, I got a boyfriend. I shouldn't be holding another boy's hand." Innocent. But ever since that moment, I always saw that little glimmer in her eyes and everything, and she would glance my way, and I would try and get her attention. So it was probably like I would say honestly, like my first real crush in school, because the ladies loved Michael. I always had a lot of girls that had crushes on me, but that was the first time I had a crush on a girl during my school years. And I remember being in my mom's car on the way to some type of event that my sister was doing. My sister was really into arts, and at that particular moment in time, she had some type of after school, or I should say night play, and we had to go to it. Can't remember what it was, but I just remember coming home and that being on the radio. And every time I hear that song, I always think of that girl, Deanna. I can never remember her name now, but it was Dana or Deanna. I just remember what she looked like. Every time I hear that song, I remember me being in the back of that car, looking out the window. I was like, man, I would be your father figure. Put your tiny hands in mine. It's just amazing what music will do to you. So anyone that would used to follow my Facebook page knows I'm a big fan of the 80s. If you follow my YouTube page, I have my 80s playlist where I love to find good old classic 80s songs. But I'm just a music lover in general. So yes, I'm all about travel fitness, but I kind of just want to change it up a little bit because George Michael passing away kind of caught me off guard. Like it caught a lot of people off guard, and it just goes to show you never know how much time you got here in the world, but while you're here, make that impact. A guy growing up in Britain, pretty much, well, I don't know where exactly he grew up. I'm sad to say that, but I know he grew up on that island. And he was able to get with some other teenagers and come up with this band named Wham, who he did not know what impact he would have on the rest of the world. But lo and behold, all these years later, he has a young black male appreciate his music and actually smile when I think of his songs because it brings back great childhood memories. I can only wish to have that type of impact in this world, and that's kind of where I am at in my phase of my life now. Is I want to have an impact in the world. So I've chosen travel fitness to kind of start my impact, and it's been books, it's been online training, and it's been my master course, as well as my blog, as well as these video blogs as well. But I want to make an impact. I hope to change someone's life and impact someone's life, just like George Michael has impacted mine. So it's just one of those things I just want you to think about. You never know when you're gonna go. So why not enjoy your time on this earth? Do what you can. If you're one of those people that are always talking about, you want to lose weight, you want to change your eating habits, well, why you keep waiting till tomorrow? Tomorrow's not guaranteed. Start today. Better your life today. Enjoy your life today because you never know what tomorrow's gonna bring. So that's what I kind of want to talk about today. So I'm about to end this video and probably go and listen to some more George Michael music. Man, he made some good songs. You had Careless Whispers, obviously you had Faith, like I said, Father Figure, then the list goes on and on and on. So enjoy the rest of your day. God bless.